Yo, everyday superpower. Signing in. We're going to switch it up a little. We're going to talk about the 48 laws of power. Robert Greene's direction to not only influence and persuade and to get where you need to be, but how to also observe it within the real world, how it works. How authority exercises and controls and influences those down below, whether it be in the market, whether it be in the business, the workplace, politics, the system and human dynamic as of general, essentially. So we're going to start off with law number 1. Never outshine the master. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to, as always, just speak with you. Use it as a little bit of room for discussion, so you can speak on your own personal experiences. You can allow yourself to just sit back and think and engage, and whether you agree or not, that's not a problem. Just feel free to engage in the comment section if needs be, and so on and so forth. So rule number 1 is never outshine the master, and the whole idea behind that is that individual or individuals or entity above you wishes to remain comfortable and confident in their power and authority atop of you. Okay, that means your supervisor would probably be best in their position. Your mother and father would probably best remaining in that position. The government, political party, boss, teacher, tutor wishes to remain comfortable within their position of influence above you, okay? And it's not in your best interest to show them up. It's not in your best interest to outshine them in any means. It's not in your best interest to make them feel foolish, because they will start to resent you. Maybe momentarily if you're lucky, but maybe it will last. Let's start by putting myself in the position of power before somebody else. So I take my hard-earned money and I give my money to a creative person to do a job for me, to create for me, okay? Now this creative person has a time frame, 7 days to get this job done. The person doesn't get it to me in the time frame. Gives me an excuse. Starts stringing me along even though I've paid. I've put my part forward. I own and am funding the project. I have funded their business and they need to give me the product I have purchased. Indirectly, they are trying to outshine me and indirectly control the situation by not abiding by the rules that have been set out. They are outshining the master. I paid for the product. Without me, there would be no project. What am I going to do? I'm going to resent that person. I'm not going to go back to that person for further work. Let's say they get the product back to me and I say, I'd like you to change this. Given I have funded the project, I have purchased the product off of this person, I have a right to say so if it doesn't fulfill my criteria, okay? And I am right to do so. They disagree and say it would represent me better it going out like this. No, no, no. You do not have the say in this situation. You are outshining the master. I am getting frustrated at the way you're behaving. You do not understand where you stand in this situation. When I'm in the workplace, I have been with insecure bosses. I had a boss who was obviously insecure about his height, and so had to overcompensate and lie about his height. Now, this is something we get with every man. Overstating their height. You'll see on the internet any reference to bloody, size of genitals as well. An overcompensation, ridiculous numbers which do not abide by the science. Insecurity with men having to prove their masculinity is at an all-time high. Now, I had a boss who would lie about his height. He was the same height as me, and he would say he was a different height. We worked within a industry where height was a factor, okay? So it made sense that it was in discussion every once in a while. Now, he was on a phone call, he stated it. It was a lie. He's the same height as me. He wasn't telling these individuals his true height. We were in a room together with another colleague. In discussion, a colleague asks me my height. I'm not a liar. I told him my height. He looks at me bamboozled and he goes, well, and then it clicks, okay? Because someone's going to lie about being taller than they are but not shorter than they are, right? So it clicked. Wait a minute, he's telling the truth. That's how much. That means the boss is lying. The boss was in the room. I got put in a position where I outshone the master. Looking back, if I knew what I knew now, that wouldn't have been the case. I would have responded in a different manner. Oh, I'm not too sure. I haven't done it in a long while, but I'm same height as him. Do you know how much do you know how tall you are? Let him answer, okay? But in doing so, boom, there we go. I got put in a position where I had to make my boss look like a liar. Now, what's my boss gonna want to do? My boss has the power to fire me. It's serious business. The last video I did was on a joke is not a joke. What happens when I start joking about a person in position of authority, a person who can let me go, a person who is feeding me? When they say biting the hand that feeds, that is outshining the master. If you do a job better than the person who has shown you how to do the job, what does that make them? That means their boss is paying them too much because you as a subordinate are doing the same job for less. Right? You have to allow the glory to them. I've been in positions where I have gone out of my way to pump up the head of the boss. The father. Don't be naive in thinking the father figure is going to be proud of you surpassing what they couldn't accomplish. We are all only human. As men, we want to be number one. As a father, as the top of the food chain, the one who should provide and teach the son, Aren't you rendered useless when your son becomes so powerful that they can flip it, vice versa? The son becomes the father and the father becomes the child in the matter? Isn't that a very insecure, confusing position to be in? Will everybody react in this manner? No, not at all. But you have to be conscious and careful about these things. If you are in a relationship with somebody and your friend comes along and speaks to your partner in a way they are reacting in a very responsive manner, why is she laughing so much at his jokes? She never laughs that much at my jokes. Why is she smiling and looking at him so much? I'm her partner. He is outshining the master. You see, whereas we are equals in our day-to-day, within this realm, within this dynamic, within this communication, this relationship, this friendship, I should be comfortable as the master. I don't expect you to come and do my job better. You're supposed to come and tell my partner how great I am. Then I'm going to respect you and I am going to give you more opportunity, more chances. I'm going to look at you more so as a friend, as a true ally. But you've not consciously paid attention to your actions, and in doing so you are a liability. So as the master of this situation, who has been outshone, who has been embarrassed, I'm going to have to cut you off, or I'm going to have to get back at you, okay? You have made a hidden enemy in me. I'm going to still consist as a friend, but what you've done is something I will never forget. You have stepped on my toes, and now I'm going to find the right moment to attack, and it could be a decade, 2 decades on. And you will never know who did it. Do you see where I'm coming from? Of course, I am not that petty within reason, but you don't know who you're really speaking to. You don't know who really exists behind the mask of the people you are communicating with. The real individual, the shadow side. You don't know what they are capable of. People don't reveal that. Never outshine the master. It's an incredible point. In the book, it applies to historical context as to where those beneath the king are killed for unknowingly humiliating His Highness. I'm English. As a term of endearment or just general conversation, we can call people mate. Alright mate, how are you doing mate? My boss doesn't want to be called mate because my boss is not level with me. My boss wants to feel comfortably atop. My boss wants to feel like the man. The boss is the man who wants to feel like number one. And if I go out of my way to call him mate and to level the playing field and make it seem as if we're equals, he's going to have to prove to me that that's not the case. And metaphorically speaking, he will behead me. One last one to finish on. Christmas time, I'm not a fan of festivities. I was young. We did what we consider Secret Santa. So that means that each individual pulls a ticket out which has a name of one of your colleagues, and you give a gift anonymously, which is essentially, it's found out on the day. I don't know the ins and outs, but to put a long story short, I had to get a gift for my boss. Yeah, I projected my own lack of care of festivities upon the whole situation. My gift was a joke. It wasn't a genuine gift. When he opened it in front of everyone and saw this joke and felt embarrassed and felt uncomfortable because it wasn't of satisfaction, you best believe he went out of his way to make my life hell for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And that to this day may still remain with him. He might have had to puff up his chest and take that to the next workplace, take that to the new people who started to work for him to ensure that he wasn't taken for a mug again. Do you see the effects, the knock-on that this behaviour can have? These tyrants of bosses might have been humiliated in the past, and now they have to really lay it on heavy with you as a subordinate because of that. Never outshine the master. Make them feel comfortable. They're not your friends, they are your master. So you should lift them up higher than they ever have done before. And in doing so, you will separate yourself from those who go out of their way to believe that they are equal. It's political, it's human, it's animalistic, it's the hierarchy. There is a hierarchy. We don't stand on even ground. I'm signing out. Everyday Superpower.